Hello and welcome to another episode of Massage Unwrapped. I'm Linda Roysam, your host, and joining me today is Laurie Owen, and we are going to be talking about Trager. Laurie Owen has been a licensed massage practitioner in the state of Washington for the past 22 years, and she's also about 3/4 of the way through the process of becoming a Trager Mentastics practitioner. Her work is also informed by her studies of theology and the arts. She is an intuitive healer with the ability to suit her style to the requirements of many types of clients. Her approach is to first find out what your goals are in receiving a massage, then adjust her techniques accordingly. For some people, that will mean deep tissue trigger point work, while others it will mean a gentle, rhythmic style inspired by her studies in Qigong, Lomi, and Trager. She feels that her best work is done when the client's goals are to restore mobility. She does this by finding where the body is moving easily and where it's stuck. The approach is like a dance. She specializes in helping you find your ideal level of graceful movement. Welcome to the show, Laurie.
Good morning.
Now, Trager is something that I don't know anything about. Now, is Trager and Trager Mentastics the same, or is Mentastics a part of the Trager movement?
Dr. Trager, I'm going to take my glasses off for this part because I can probably do it without my cheat sheet.
Sure.
There we go. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dr. Trager was about 18 years old when he began to develop this work. So it's highly intuitive, and he actually started it to deal with some of his own pain issues. He had low back pain from a very young age. His family had some issues. His trainer, he was a gymnast and a boxer, and he was just inquisitive. He had a certain kind of genius, I would say, where he understood things about the human body and began to develop theories when he was very, very young. So he actually started with Mentastics, what later became known as Mentastics, as a way of dealing with his own pain and that of his family and friends. He also had a friend who had polio, and he became very curious about whether he could help his friend get out of his wheelchair. And he was actually successful in doing that. So the Mentastics aspect is, I would say, probably 80% of the work. So the whole title would be Trager Mentastics, or Psychophysical Integration, which is a large mouthful, so it's usually, just called Trager.
Okay, so what does the Trager, the Mentastics actually look like?
Let me segue a little bit here, and I'd like to kind of take you through a little bit of a Mentastics exercise.
Okay.
And starting with what I consider probably the primary principle of Trager Mentastics, which is what Dr. Trager called hookup. These days, it's kind of hard to use that word because it means something different. But when he coined that phrase, he really was talking about a feeling of connection. So I'm sitting here and I'm so aware that my voice and my image is going out to hundreds, thousands of people perhaps. And this is actually a really good example of hookup. I sit here and I'm going to invite you to do the same. To simply be aware of your body here, now. This body, right here. Feel the weight of this body. And perhaps you could start with your hand. I'm going to start with my hand here. I'm feeling the weight of my hand. Here, right now. And as I do that, I begin to feel elongation. And I might play with it a little bit. I might be inquisitive. I might think, how can this hand feel lighter? How can it be easier? How can it move more freely? Where are the places where it's already moving freely? Oh, right there. And then I find the places where maybe it isn't moving quite so freely, and I just gently nudge it along that edge. I don't go into the area of pain. I go along the edges of it. And as I do that, I'm also aware that there are hundreds of other people who are probably doing the same thing, and we're doing this together. The internet is an incredible tool for understanding hookup, because, who knows? You're connecting with me, I'm connecting with you, and we're connecting with hundreds and thousands of people throughout the world. And if you can feel that, even for a moment, and feel the joy of that and the childlike inquisitive quality that comes when you feel that, that's hookup. And that's actually Mentastics. And that's Trager.
Okay. It's interesting that you said that Dr. Trager, and he became a doctor after. You said he was a boxer and a gymnast, and then he became a doctor later.
Later. Why did it later?
It's interesting that you say that he developed this Trager Mentastics based on, some of the things that he was going through in his own life. I know that in interviewing some of the other people, like Irene Diamond and Karen Kowal, because of injuries that they had, they developed, took what they know, kind of experimented, and created their form of massage. So that's wonderful. And when I was introducing you, it said I said that you were about 3/4 of your way through the Trager work. And now, is there a certification program or?
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about the Trager, about the certification program, and is it like a certain amount of CE classes?
It started actually as its own track, because it started way back before there were licensed massage practitioners. And Dr. Trager, because of the way he developed it, I think he felt very strongly that it should be available to people who are not medical people. Mm-hmm. So it has its own certification. It's about 500 hours of training altogether, including practice sessions, tutorials, 3 levels of training plus Mentastics training, plus anatomy and physiology. It generally takes about a 1.5 to 2 years to complete.
Oh, wow.
So it's really intense, and it's actually designed to reteach some of the things that we may think about our bodies.
Okay. Now, you are about 3/4 of the way through. So other practitioners who are taking the Trager, they're allowed to practice it while they're going through it, or you're not really allowed to practice Trager until after you're certified?
Well, we're sort of in a limbo in a way. If we're already practitioners, as I am, I've been a licensed massage practitioner for 22 years. And so I cannot advertise at this point that I do Trager. I cannot say that I'm a Trager practitioner, but I can say that I'm informed by my training, in the same way that I'm informed by every training that I've taken along the way. So, in practical terms, if you come to me at this point, it's the thing that I do most. It's what informs me most. Mm-hmm. So there will be some Trager-inspired work that you'll receive if you come to see me as a massage practitioner, for sure.
Okay.
Just that I cannot say that I'm a Trager practitioner at this point.
Okay, so what kind of conditions does Trager help with?
That's an interesting question, and I've been really thinking about that one a lot. I would say anybody could benefit from Trager because it's extremely gentle. It's non-invasive. One of the things that really sets it apart is that at the very heart of the theory is that you do not cause pain. You don't go into the level of pain. You stay back from that level. Artists love Traeger. It's inspiring. You know, in fact, that's one of the reasons that I love it so much, is that it inspires me. People with chronic pain issues, one of the reasons that I came back to Traeger after 20 years, I took my level 1 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, was that I had an injury about 3 years ago, and it was pretty debilitating, and I had kind of given up. I saw doctors and physical therapists, and it just was not responding. So I set out on a journey of self-discovery, and along the way I thought, I'm going to go back and have a Traeger session. And I got off the table, I'd say 80% better than when I got on the table. And so really for the first time I understood its effectiveness for injury rehab. I mean, for me, it's been literally a lifesaver. And the Mentastics aspect, especially, as I do my little Mentastics movements through the day, and really Mentastics are about approaching movement from a certain perspective and playing and being inquisitive. How can this be lighter? How can this be freer? Well, let's play with this. As I do that, I'm finding that the pain, the residual pain from that injury is just going away. Now, there have been other things that have helped with that. Bone work, for one, has been extremely helpful. And I find that those two approaches are very compatible with each other. But really, it's the Mentastics aspect that has made the huge difference in my life. So that's one area. Sports. To be able to learn how to move more gracefully, more using your whole body, and finding the areas where you're bound and just gently moving out of those areas, really, really helpful for athletes. People who are bound up tight, someone described it as ceramic tile with hair. Those people respond really well. If I can get them to give me 5 minutes of, let me try this other approach. I know you want the elbow, but let me try this other approach. 90% of the people that I've done that with have loved it, because they find that those muscles are actually, they're melting. And it's so simple, so gentle. And it's very counterintuitive for a lot of people, but if they try it, they end up loving it. People who are out in their yard weeding, and they have that short-term pain that comes when you've overdone it. Great. Traeger is wonderful for that. Young mothers who haven't had a good night's sleep, I don't know any other modality that gets me into a deeper state of relaxation. So, someone who is experiencing sleep deprivation or depression, the lightness, the freedom, the really deep relaxation that happens. I love it. What can I say? I don't think there is any condition that couldn't benefit.
Okay, well, that was my next question. Is there any contraindications to Traeger?
I really don't think so, as long as the practitioner is mindful. And that is the key, is that you have to be mindful. I have a person I've been doing my practice sessions on currently, and she gave me permission to talk about this. She probably has fibromyalgia or something like that, undiagnosed. She's been in pain for 6 years. Her low back is so bound up, it just wasn't even moving. And the first couple of sessions, she did experience some pain the next day, but we had talked about that ahead of time, and I let her know that could possibly happen, just because she's so incredibly sensitive. Just the gentlest touch is very hard for her to take, which is why she doesn't like massage. So I just, barely touch her and barely rock, barely even do anything with her. But slowly her range of motion is increasing and the pain is beginning to diminish. And she's delighted.
Excellent. Well, I know that you have a clip for us that we're going to see in a little bit, and what I noticed on the clip with the back, you're just gently rocking the client. Is that what a typical session looks like?
That's part of what a typical session looks like, and I'm going to put my glasses on here for a minute because I have a cheat sheet.
Okay.
Oh, there go the eyes. All right, and there'll be a little clicking. Okay, so there are several typical moves that you would experience in a Trager session.
Uh-huh.
One is sculpting, which is you just use your hands to sculpt the muscles in a large area. And what that does, it wakes up that whole area and makes you aware of the connection throughout a whole, like the whole back, the whole leg. Supporting the limbs. When I support a limb, I start by feeling the weight of that limb. And then I gently raise it. And that allows you to feel lightness and weightlessness. And once I raise the limb, I might gently rock it. As you saw in the back, as you'll see in the back clip, the rocking is very typical. And what that does is it calms the nervous system and it makes it safe for the body to let go. Elongation, that's a really important one. We call it taking up the slack, and that allows you to feel elasticity, the elasticity within your muscles. We pause, and that's another thing that's pretty unique to Mentastics. There will be a lot of pauses. I might step back from the table. And I might ask you, feel that. Feel your shoulder now. Do you notice a difference? So how could it be lighter? And in that pause, you reintegrate your mind and your body, reintegrate what it feels like, what normal is. What is the normal relaxed state of this muscle right here, right now? And there might be some light bouncing, what we call fluffing, which is like a little fluffing, or a shimmering motion. It's shimmering, that's shimmering. And you'll feel movements that go from your foot all the way to your head. If I'm doing a slight elongation of your leg and rocking your leg, you'll feel it in your head. You'll feel it all the way through your body. Mm-hmm. So I think that's
excellent. So we're going to show that clip now. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about it first before we take a look?
Sure. I apologize for the quality. It's very casually done by a friend of mine. And I'm just talking a little bit about what I'm doing when I'm working in the low back area. There are some specific movements that I'm doing, but really what I'm doing is I'm feeling for the areas where it is already moving. And that's another really unique thing about Trager. You start by feeling where is it lighter, where is it free. Mm-hmm. And you focus on that. You focus on the areas where the body is already doing well. And then you go to the areas where maybe it's, you feel, oh, here's a little place where, it's a little bit, okay, let's see if it'll rock a little more, see if it'll move a little more. It's always inquisitive and always childlike and always questioning. Okay. And so that's what the clip will kind of show, I hope, will show me doing that.
Okay, let's take a look at that now.
Okay. This is an area that people really love because it's very unique. So what I'm doing now is I'm just feeling, getting a sense of where is this back
Okay, we're back. Yeah, I did notice that the rocking movements in the clip, and that's one of the 4 techniques that you were just telling us about.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned that you used Traeger when you had a debilitating condition as well as another client that you're working with now. Do you have maybe one more example of how you've been able to help a client with Traeger? What condition did they have, and how long did it take them to get out of it?
Yeah. This was actually someone I've only seen once. He was an athlete, a triathlete, and his comment to me at the beginning of the session was, well, when you get to my shoulders, don't even bother to try and get them to loosen, because I've been seeing a massage practitioner for 7 years, and she's never been able to get them to loosen. And, that was a challenge to me. So I said, let me try something a little different for you. Now, this was at the spa where I work, so I won't be seeing this person again, but I have referred them on to other Traeger practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
And, give me 5 minutes. If you hate it, I'll go back to using my elbow. So I started working on his shoulders, and they just melted. It was just so cool. And he was amazed. He couldn't believe how loose and light and free that whole area, right up in here and between the scapula became, and his neck also. So that was one of my most favorite ones.
Excellent. Now, we know that you're in Washington State. How can somebody get in touch with you if they want to try Traeger?
Okay. My website, which I sent to you.
I'm going to post it below this video, but if you'd like to say it now, that would be great.
All right. It's http://www.laurieanhealing.com, and that's LAURIEAN healing.com. You can also, my favorite way of communication is texting. So you can text me at 253-230-7346. And at this point, I'm very limited in the number of appointments that I have, because I also work full-time. But I would be delighted to talk with anyone about the possibility of fitting them into my clientele.
Okay. Now, if somebody is not in the Washington area or can't get in with you because of scheduling conflicts, is there a national organization that has Traeger practitioners?
Yes, there is. And I did send you that link. I'm going to have to click here for a second. I believe it is www.usta.org.
I'll post a link below, but there's a national organization.
I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah. I think it's TraegerUS.org from what I remember from reading.
I think that's right. And there is a page within the website where you can find a practitioner.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being my guest today. I learned a lot. Maybe I can I'll have to look in my area to see if there is somebody who practices Traeger around here so I can try it out myself.
Please do. You'll love it. If nothing else, it is a wonderful art form, and it's just a delight to receive, and you'll sleep really well afterwards. I promise you.
I'm sure that's something that we all would love to be able to do, since sleep deprivation is one of our biggest problems here in the U.S.
Yes.
Well, until next time, I'm Linda Roysum from Massage Unwrapped.
Thank you.